I am out on Palomar today with Joseph Garey, who's a new rider to the team. I've worked with Joseph before a little bit last year, and things didn't entirely work out, but everything kind of happens for a reason. And after Redlands, he called me up and said, hey, Jordan, I'd really like to move forward with the team. I know what is on the table. I know what the requirements are. I know the score, basically. And I'm all in. All right, so my thoughts on Joseph. He's like the ideal athlete in a lot of ways. He's 23 and Cat 1, and just a lot of untapped potential that he doesn't know about, that a lot of people probably just wouldn't even recognize, because if you were to look at his results, they're pretty mediocre. There's nothing really special about him. Hasn't really won any races. His power isn't even especially extraordinary. Like, if you were to look at it and say 380 watts at 160 pounds, that's good, but it's not really amazing. When I look at him, I see, okay, here's somebody who I could really develop into somebody just awesome, because his head's in the right place. He's here and he wants to work, and that's pretty awesome. Not too many people at his age really understand what is in place. They want a free bike, they want free stuff, they want to be taken care of. When I was young, if somebody had said, yeah, we're not going to take care of you, but we'll give you the parameters and tell you what you need to do, I would have been like, oh man, I'll totally do that. I'll do anything. I'll freaking ride through brick walls. Just tell me what I gotta do. And that's something that Joseph's always said to me. He said, you know what, Jordan, just tell me what I gotta do and I'll do it. And so, it's pretty cool when you have somebody who's like that. And most people that age, they're entitled. And getting them to understand, like, yeah, nothing's gonna be handed to you. You gotta work for it. That's, that's rare. All right, we are gonna do some testing with Justin here.
Yep.
Gonna do some lactate work, and then I'll send him out on the road later today and just check and see some of his basic values, like his sprint power and his 1 minute, and then he'll do some intervals. But it's been a while since we've kind of caught up with you.
Yeah.
We have another jersey on the wall now.
Mm-hmm.
You just got back from Chico. How was that?
So, and Joey, like the plan in the road race was to make it hard from the gun because there was crosswinds. And I kind of forgot. So I got myself dropped by not being up there. Then in the crit, just try to help, and Joey manage the brakes and just who was animating the race. And then set me up for the stage win. I knew where I had to be coming out of the last corner, and that was first. So started my sprint like 400, 500 meters out. Came under in the last corner, and then just managed to hold it by half a wheel.
Okay. So this is just our first data point, kind of establishing baseline. And this is 0.4 millimoles. I use this concurrently with testing out on the road. And this just kind of gives a more complete picture of where the athlete is at. I'm looking at kind of the deflection point of right around 2.0 millimoles. And roughly right about there, that's where I'm looking at, kind of where the aerobic power threshold is. And so drop that down to today, he is at probably, I guess, 225. So to go from 160 to 225 in 2 years, that's pretty good. that's when I'm, kind of always talking about that year-over-year power. I'm talking about the aerobic power and just how that kind of grows over time. And so what I would be looking at, for Justin to really be competing at the very highest level is like 300 watts plus. And, at that point, he'll probably weigh quite a bit more. He weighs about 126 pounds, which is about 57 kilos-ish. So I could see him gaining probably about 5-7 pounds of muscle. And, we're doing that through the gym. And then, over time, we're building up his aerobic power, just slowly, steady work. And we'll get there. So we'll see his sprint numbers go up, his aerobic power go up, and we're still planning years out down the road before he's like really where we want him to be.
How's 10,500 feet feel?
Like 10,500 feet.
Good old Albuquerque. I have never felt the wind this calm up here.
All right, it is the build-up before the Tour of Gila, and right now a contingent of guys are out in Albuquerque staying with Joey Bacala to get some altitude training in. And Tour of Gila is obviously, it's a big race for us. Coming off of Redlands, we want to demonstrate that we can go into another big stage race and challenge for the win. So whether or not that happens remains to be seen. Obviously, we're gonna give it our best effort, and if we win, awesome. If we lose, then, we'll get a clear sense of what we need to work on. But I thought I would take this time to just kind of discuss where we're going, what we're doing. Because a lot of people, I think they don't really understand what Semper Porro is about. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you know that where I'm really aiming for is the very top of the sport. I want to succeed at the highest level. I want to win the Tour. I want to win the Olympics. I want to win World Championships, Roubaix. I want to win everything. And everything about that is central to this one idea, which is development. Unlike other teams, I don't really go out and pursue athletes based on what they can do. For me, it really comes down to I'm looking for athletes who want to work. And I believe that I have the skills to develop them into elite athletes capable of winning the biggest races in the world. And a lot of that comes back to my process, my coaching, what I do, and how I go about that. So I just kind of wanted to break down a little bit, delve into the athletes that I work with, and just look at their development, where we have progressed. So first of all, I want to start with Eno. We have had a bit of a bumpy ride. I was just talking with Eno today, and we were both kind of laughing at how hard it's been. When he first started, he was 23 years old, and I met him while he was on a motorcycle trip around the country. He stopped at my place and we had a chat for 2 hours, and I said, listen, if you're really serious about pursuing this, then you need to drop everything, move out here, and I'll work with you. And I'll be all in. I won't charge you anything. We'll just put everything we have on the table to go and really pursue this at a high level. And he said yes off of that one conversation. So we got started, and I knew definitely less than I know now, but we started laying the foundation and really kind of putting in place what I thought was necessary. And to start, we tested his 20-minute power, and it was just very mediocre. His power was, I think, 320 watts at 165 pounds. That's not much in terms of power. If you compare that to just a little bit ago at Chico, he did a time trial, and for 19 minutes he did 434 watts in a time trial position, no less. So that was achieved over many years of just slowly building his engine. And after Eno came Justin, and Justin, man, when he started, he didn't know much. His power was terrible. His 5-second power when he started was 1,064 watts. And, you know, for a sprinter, that is just, it's practically nothing. Now he's small, very small. He was 116 pounds when he started. So definitely he had some acceleration, but no drive. And unless it was like a super easy race and then a finishing sprint where it wasn't terribly fast leading up to it, he couldn't do well at all. And, you know, we've slowly been building his aerobic engine and adding muscle to his frame and everything. So now he's put on about 10 pounds. And his sprint now is up by 300 watts. So now it's at about 1,350, which is pretty significant. Again, for somebody so small, like now when he sprints, he can definitely go. There's a lot of work still to be done. If we follow kind of his trajectory and where he's going, we are looking at another 5-7 years, but he's steadily, like, we're just chipping away at this. His aerobic power, you know, we're slowly building that up, and the goal is to be able to have his aerobic power, which right now is right around 200 watts, come up to 300 watts. And when he can do that and really sustain 300 watts for a long period of time, and then also be able to punch on top of that, he's gonna be really deadly. And then finally we have Cory. You know, I think a lot of people don't see what goes into building Cory. They see him as somebody who is good to begin with. But the reality is when Cory came to me, he was 29, so it was a year and a half ago. And I think he had a pretty clear idea of where he was going, and it was a dead end, and I told him as much. So when Cory came on board, I said, okay, this is what we have to do. And he had his aerobic power tested with lactate, and his LT1, kind of the first benchmark of his aerobic power, was 240 watts. So nothing extraordinary. Cory is not a special athlete by any means. But we began working and just laying the foundation, as I always do, and overhauled his nutrition, his training, his mental process, his equipment, everything. We changed everything. And, you know, bit by bit, we started building things up. And so, you know, after the first year, he had jumped from, you know, 240, 280, and then he was up to like the low 300s. And then in this last year, he's killed himself again, just working absolutely insanely hard. And he's up to 360 watts. 360 watts at LT1. That is a enormously high number. And the truth is, we're not done yet. You know, our aim is to keep pushing it. And while I would say that Cory is not an extraordinary athlete, the thing that's made Cory amazing is his work ethic. He is insane at times in terms of how hard he works. And on Training Peaks, when you're kind of scrolling through everything, if you complete a workout and it is, you know, done exactly as prescribed, it'll be green. And if it's kind of okay, it'll be like orange or yellow. And then if it's bad, it's red. And you could just scroll back through weeks and months and it's just all green. He nails it every single time. And, you know, most people in the off season, they'll take a break or, you know, they'll have some downtime. Cory hasn't done that at all. So in a year and a half, Cory has not taken one break. He's just been on that whole time. Obviously, there've been rest weeks in there, but in terms of just like time away from the bike, yeah, he hasn't slowed down. I do worry about it, obviously, that he's going to break himself. And whenever I schedule rest or I tell him, like, you need to step away from the bike, he does worse almost. Where, you know, he really is just so driven that he wants to get there. He wants to accomplish that goal. And both of us, we kind of feed into each other. In the lead up to Redlands, we were at our wits' end, falling apart emotionally, mentally, physically. But we kept going because we knew what we wanted. And, you know, we came out with a win there. So that's what I'm doing at Semper Porro, and my plan is I'm really trying to build this brick by brick, and what I'm looking for are athletes who really want to work hard and make things happen. It's hard, of course, because nobody wants to listen to you if you haven't proven anything, and how can you prove anything if nobody wants to listen to you? So it's a bit of a conundrum, and for that reason I owe absolutely so much to Eno for taking a chance on me when I was just this crazy guy with these crazy ideas about how the engine should be built and how training should be, approached. And the same with Justin. His parents said, all right, we support this decision and we believe in what you're doing and we want Justin to succeed. And the same with Cory. He took an absolute risk to come work with me. I was kind of at my wit's end 1.5 years ago because things had fallen apart a little bit with Eno. And I was just like, I have the tools, but no one wants to listen to me. But Cory took a risk on me and he said, I will go in that direction. If you say that this way is the way to the top, then I know that way over there, it dead ends. So I'm not gonna go that way. And it's worth risking everything to go and join Semper Porro because it might work. And so, I'm gonna build this piece by piece with Joseph, the new rider who started. He's a strong rider, but is he special? Not really. He's a, average athlete in a lot of ways. But the thing is that he is here and he wants to work. And he understands that nothing is going to be given to him and it's going to take time. And, those are the kind of riders that I'm looking for. They're all in, they want to work hard, they're not expecting me to hand them anything. They just say, tell me what I need to do, I just need the direction.
Nice hat, dog.
Can't help yourself.
No, I can't. I see a lens and it
Automatically, something start goofing off.
I don't know.
Make it stop, Jordan! Make it stop! Oh God! No, just kidding. I want this, all right? So, out here grinding.